What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's video. Today we are talking about the best Switch RPGs of 2023. I got 9 RPGs to talk to you about today. Of course, there was a good amount of RPGs that came out last year. However, on the Nintendo Switch, there was a few less than on the other systems. So, buckle up, let's get going. Fire Emblem Engage is the latest in the long-running strategy RPG franchise. After the massive success of Three Houses, it was somewhat surprising to see Nintendo lean more into the technical depth of combat mechanics and lay off the gas on the social life sim elements that made Three Houses so popular. Engage is still a great game in its own right, toothpaste hair aside. But if what got you hooked on Three Houses was fishing for your favorite love interest, this might not be the game for you. That said, if you loved the strategy and combat portion and wanted more out of that, then Engage might be exactly what you need. Following the relatively successful first outing, Octopath Traveler 2 looked to continue the best parts of the first game, but also answer the biggest complaints, that being interactions between characters and an overarching story. This time around, the team built in scenarios where your characters actually talk about one another's stories. You know, like they're actually there and not just an AI simulation. That said, it is still a collection of 8 different stories, not really an overarching plot. If you know that going in, it can be a great time with 8 incredible stories. But if a through-line story is what mattered to you, this second outing won't do enough to change that. This is one of the highest rated games of the year for a reason. Tears of the Kingdom took what most people loved about Breath of the Wild and turned it into this insane sandbox where you can basically build anything. Social media went nuts with giant robots and tanks and other stuff. Yeah, please subscribe. With a giant world taking basically the same map that its predecessor had, albeit with a few tweaks and changes, but then putting the sky isles above and the depths below, making it a ridiculously large world for you to run around. The world is packed with stuff to do, way more than the first outing. And with the utility sandbox Nintendo created, it's not hard to see why so many people loved this game so much. This conclusion to one of the longest running JRPG sagas brings 3 different story arcs together. Trails into Reverie hasn't seen the critical reception that some other titles may have, but if you ask the fan base, this game is one for the ages, maintaining the signature Orbital Arts system while bringing together a massive list of characters through which to work that system. Reverie brings an end to 3 major arcs, but opens the door for the next one, that being Daybreak, meaning that all the world building in these games compile to make an enormous lived-in place that feels like it has real history. While you probably don't want to start your Trails journey here, if you've been playing or are wanting to get into the story, this is where you're going to end up. Sea of Stars is one of the truly great indie RPGs to come out in recent years. In 2022, Chained Echoes arrived and blew everyone away. It was nearly universally loved. In 2023, Sea of Stars was passed the torch with their modern take on a Chrono Trigger style game, full to the brim of beautiful scenery, engaging combat, emotional story, and meaningful characters. Sabotage Studios created something incredibly special with this one, managing to be nostalgic and yet pushing modern mechanics simultaneously. It easily earns its place as one of the best RPGs to arrive on the Nintendo Switch in 2023. Following a bit of a dip in Disgaea 6, this outing continues the blend of 2D drawn character portraits with 3D models on the battlefield, which is definitely taking some getting used to for longtime fans. That said, it seems that the team has made significant progress on that front as Disgaea 7 emerged with noticeable improvements over the previous entry, while keeping the zany numbers and leveling of everything that has become a hallmark of the series, adding a new jumbification mechanic which fits right into the wild world of Disgaea. Vows of the Virtuous is a must-play for strategy RPG fans. This remake surprised nearly everybody when it released towards the back end of 2023, accumulating high marks and praise as if Nintendo themselves had been the ones to make it. Star Ocean: The Second Story R is a remake of a PlayStation 1 game, brought to new life with a fantastic take on the HD 2D style made popular by Octopath Traveler, and modernized in such an intelligent way, it's hard to give a reason why anyone shouldn't have this on their radar. Boasting a phenomenal action combat system, intricate story, and top-notch characters, Second Story R is one you won't want to miss. Sticking with the strategy RPG theme for a minute, Persona 5 released a spin-off title that is somewhat a follow-up to the original Persona 5, but not to Royal or Strikers. Yeah, try to keep that all straight. But it is a fun, quick playthrough with a story that will grow on you and character interactions which Persona is famous for. Great characters and really interesting and unique mechanics, different than pretty much any strategy RPG I've ever played. At first, I wasn't sure about this one, but once I pushed through some of the beginning stuff, it genuinely opened up to be something worthwhile. A remake to a beloved classic. While this remake is super faithful to the original, it does bring a fresh coat of paint and a few combat updates that help to knock off the 3-decade-long buildup of dust. It's not fully redone, so it still feels archaic at times, but anyone nostalgic for the original will find a home here, and anyone who is not should still find a good time and a good entry point. Super Mario RPG doesn't overstay its welcome and brings with it a nice take on the Mario universe with some cool new characters to get to know. With a fun combat system and a fun story, Super Mario RPG is definitely a good time. And a few honorable mentions for you. Dragon Quest Monsters, while it didn't receive a super high critical reception, it definitely achieved something the fans were longing for. And so, if you are someone who is either nostalgic for the series or loves Pokemon type games, Dragon Quest Monsters could be one for you. And lastly, Pixel Remasters, Final Fantasy series. Taking the 1st through 6th game and bringing them up to a modern age with a new Pixel Remaster, Final Fantasy series is one to get here. Making it more accessible on more platforms, the Pixel Remasters are definitely a win. And that's it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button. I got reviews for some of the games on this list, and if you're interested in those, I will leave the links below the like button. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and good hunting.